Ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube universe, what is going on with you on this Sunday morning? It is Sunday, May 19th, 2024, roughly 8:15 p.m. California time. I am, of course, your always gracious host, Fallon from GoNootropics.com, coming at you with the Rockstar Orange chairs on this Sunday morning coming down. Thank you for cruising through, checking this video out. We are no Kratom, no nicotine, baby, just cruising with the caffeine. And quite honestly, drinking a lot of caffeine, man, a lot of coffee, a lot of energy drinks, a lot of, since giving up the Kratom, giving up the nicotine, two of my most cherished copes, two of my most, when I think of the copiest of the copes, and I think of the things that if I could just have a little taste right now, it would be a little bit of Kratom, a little bit of nicotine. It was a stack that got me through some pretty hard times back in the days, right? Many of you know what I'm talking about, the Kratom and the nicotine. It's like the two seem to go together. It's like coffee and cigarettes, and they get you through that daily grind. It's that morning Kratom, it's that morning nicotine. And let's be honest, giving those things up is hard, and you question yourself, especially, when you give up the Kratom and you give up the nicotine, aren't you questioning yourself on day 3, like, what is going on? What am I doing to myself? Why don't I just go back, right? It's like you're being tempted by Satan in the deserts. And you do ask yourself, what am I doing? Why not just go back to the precious? It's like the one ring, Bilbo Baggins and the one ring. He doesn't want to give up the precious. This is why I call it the precious, because your mind will start playing tricks on you, like, you know what, it wasn't so bad. Here at, I think we've made it 2 months no Kratom. I'm starting to think my brain is starting to fold in on itself, convincing me that, you know what, it wasn't so bad on the Kratom. It wasn't so bad. Taking Kratom, taking nicotine, going into work, it wasn't so bad. This is what my brain is trying to tell me at this moment in time. But all I gotta do is roll back the footage, baby. All I gotta do is roll back the beautiful bean footage and just watch some of those old videos where I was taking Kratom, and you could see the life has just left me. I'm drained of any life force. If I go back and I watch those older videos, I could tell there's no energy there. It's all limp stuff, just kind of like a walking shell, just no energy. You could see it in the eyes. Just go back and watch some of those older videos. You could see, and I'm even complaining that, man, I'm just not feeling good. I'm limping the pants. I'm this, and it doesn't take much. All you got to do is roll back the tapes and remember how terrible the Kratom made you feel, right? So it's about never forgetting. It's about always remembering what the thing did to you and how terrible it was, and the fact that you can't just have a single dose. And that's the most frustrating part about all this, right? Is, wouldn't it be nice if we had the brain chemistry, if we had the right type of personality or genetic framework to just have a taste, right? But many of us can't. We can't have the taste. We're the coffee AA guy. We're the coffee drinking AA guy, and we are now resigned to a life where we have to walk that straight and narrow, baby, and we have to juice our carcass. So this is what prompted the bicycle trip across the United States. We're moving back east because it's like you have to do something. You got to juice the carcass. You got to shake things up, I'm not convinced that moving is going to change who I am, because I very much believe that wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are. But making such a radical shift can shake things up a little bit, and you'd be surprised where the pieces fall down when it's all said and done and you shake up that snow globe. You might be surprised where the pieces fall. So we'll be crossing the desert, right? We'll be heading down across the Southwest, up towards the Midwest, up to Chicago, over to New York City. And who knows what waits for us in the desert, right? Who knows what kind of mirages, what kind of visions that we'll get in the desert. Certainly nothing's going on here in this little rat studio. Certainly there's no visions popping up here, baby. And that's a big problem when you're in that point and you're stagnant and nothing is growing and it's just nothing's happening, and it's almost like a fever dream. Every day is like Groundhog Day. You have to shake it up. You have to shake it up. So here, 2 months no kratom. Of course, all the physical withdrawal symptoms are gone. Sometimes I do feel the restlessness come back into the legs. Like last night, I had a little bit of the restless legs, and occasionally, yeah, the restlessness will come back. I think it's been about a month. No nicotine. Still kind of craving the nicotine, right? This is like a demon that who knows if I'll ever exorcise this demon out of me. Who knows? I probably have to go to the desert and sweat this thing out, because it's just these cravings, and you're in the same rut. You're living in the same place, working the same job. You're kind of, the grooves of the brain have been eroded, and there's like this track that you're just spinning around. And if you're in the same track, you're going to be thinking the same thoughts. It's hard to think different thoughts if you're in kind of the same track. So you have to change. You have to pull up the anchor and put up your sails and see where the wind takes you, right? So this whole sobriety, you could call it journey or something, or experiment. I like to think of it as like an experiment. We're testing this out because it really wasn't working the way I was living. It wasn't really working the way I was doing things. It's just kind of existing, and it's just kind of coping, and it's just kind of working the same job, taking kratom to cope, spending way too much money on nicotine. And I wasn't drinking alcohol. This is what a lot of people give kratom credit for. It's like, well, kratom helps me not drink, or kratom helps me not use opioids or whatever. And that's great, but don't you have to keep going? Don't you? So you just stop right there? Don't you gotta keep digging and see where that rabbit hole leads? Don't just stop at the kratom. Use the kratom to kind of boost you to that ledge, but eventually, don't you have to also give up the kratom and see where that road takes you? Especially if you've been a lifelong self-medicator. Don't you have to? Isn't abstinence kind of like the new frontier for your life? If you've been self-medicating your whole life, isn't abstinence the new frontier that you should go explore? People talk about psychedelics, and I've done the mushrooms, and I've done the salvia, and I've done all those things. I could tell you they don't really have the answer. And if you want to go on a journey, there's a lot of ways to do that. Taking off on your bike across the United States and living out of a tent, I would argue rivals a psychedelic journey, a psychedelic experience. Yeah, it's more work, but in the end, you're gonna come out just as knowledgeable, more knowledgeable, more ready for challenges that life throws at you. And, you know, you could walk across the desert, and that alone is like a psychedelic experience. If you're walking across the desert in like 110-degree heat, don't tell me that's not gonna you're not gonna see some shit out there in the desert, right? When you're damn near dying of heat stroke, you're out there in the desert, right? Don't tell me that's not going to juice the carcass. So there's things we can do, places we can go, people we can see, to juice the carcass and just squeeze a little bit out of the lemon, right? Just squeeze a little bit more juice out of this life, because it's going to be over quicker than we know it. So that is the video of the day, ladies and gentlemen. As always, Fallon, GoNootropics.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I will see you very soon. Peace.